What's going on, everybody? It is Brian, and in this video I'll be showing you the performance of Just Cause 2 on the MSI GT780R gaming laptop. For the specs, you could go down below in the description, so let's go ahead and start the game. Now, this game does have its own benchmark tool that pretty much goes through various areas and it records the frame rates and it will tell you how the game performs. So first, let me go into the settings. So you can see that everything is maxed out as high as you can get. I'm actually going to bring some of these settings down to medium because it's honestly a bit too high for this computer. So for texture detail, for the options you have low or high, so I'll leave those at high. Everything else I'm going to bring down to medium because with everything on high, it's honestly a bit too much for this computer. So we will just leave everything at medium with the texture quality set to high. So let me go and load my latest autosave just to mess around for a little bit, and then we'll go into the benchmarking modes. So you can see that I'm getting about 43 frames per second right here. Goes down a little bit once you start shooting. Goes down a little bit more when you are seeing an explosion. As you can see, I do have a little mod installed that gives you really fast rocket boosters on your parachute. So one of my main reasons for liking this game so much is that the environment itself is really beautiful. You can see that everything looks very nice. The scenery in this game looks just really nice. I really like to just sort of fly around or drive around the island a little bit. So when you're just flying around above the ground, you can see that the frame rate, it's about between 40 to 55. Of course, when we go straight up into the sky, it goes up to about 70. So now I'm going to go ahead and go back to the main menu, and then we're going to go into the benchmark modes. So I'm going to do all three of them because each one takes about 2 minutes, but I'll pretty much just I'll show you a little bit of the beginning and then I'll skip right to the end where it gives you the results. So for the first benchmark, the average frame rate was a little bit over 30. So if I were to actually bring some of these other graphic settings to high, then that would obviously decrease. But overall, it's not too bad. That was probably one of the more extreme conditions for this game because it's raining, there's lightning going on, and there's a bunch of explosions happening. So let me go to the second benchmark. So as you can see, this test wasn't as extreme as the first one, so our average frame rate was about 45 frames per second. So we have one more benchmark to go. So that's it with the third test, and the average frame rate was just about 30 frames per second, which isn't too bad. Once you're in the city in this game, that's sort of the most, that's just where most of the objects are all around you at one time, so 30 frames per second isn't too bad, but you might want to bring down some of the other settings, maybe soft particles, bring that down a little bit. SSAO, you can bring that down to low, and your frame rate will probably increase a little bit. But that was just a quick look at the performance of Just Cause 2 on the MSI GT780R gaming laptop. So that is it. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can leave them down below in the comments area. But that's it with the video. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you all soon.